So it is time for the namesake segment of the show. Test your mic. Are you gentlemen ready?
Yeah, I'm a quack.
Got a no and a yes. Perfect. Opposites are working out for the whole episode here.
I'm gonna be completely honest. We were supposed to record Sunday. We're recording Wednesday because of some scheduling conflicts, and I also wasn't supposed to be on this episode, so I never looked at the outline
Until right now.
Until right now. So
Perfect.
So
I was
that's why
gonna
I'm
make
not
a
ready.
joke about this first question, but I realized it might be inappropriate, so I'm not gonna make that joke, and instead I'm just gonna read it. Are we ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Joseph Staten, don't know his name.
Staten.
Anyways, Joe, great name. We like Joe. He has joined Netflix Games, which again I didn't know existed because Netflix is a streaming service. But anyways, he's on Netflix. So what I want you to do is pitch me a Netflix themed AAA, this ain't no indie game, better than, well, the other one. So we're going to I mean there's only two of you, so obviously so we're gonna go with a heads tails here. Justin, your heads, Mike, your tails, and don't worry, I've got a coin here. So I hope it picked up that ding.
That was good.
It did.
beautiful.
It did.
Yeah, it did.
Did it?
In
Great
the Discord
ASMR,
call,
yeah.
at least.
Man, it's heads.
That's
Okay.
Mike.
I'm first.
Or you can decide. I mean,
Oh, I could defer.
Well,
Power
you were
goes
first.
to
You
you.
were first all last episode. It's up to you.
I did. Let's keep the trend going. So, in my very brief research of Netflix shows to bring to the table today, I've actually been away from truly the Netflix scene for a while now. The only show that I'm truly interested in is Cobra Kai and then The Witcher. So I haven't been sort of focused on what Netflix has been bringing, but they did have a television series come out in 2018 that I believe that Joseph Staten would be really, really good at adapting. Because Joseph Staten, his chops are in sci-fi first-person shooters. He was the creative director of narrative in Bungie in the original run when Halo was created. He helped spawn that series. He certainly helped Halo Infinite get to sort of where it is today, where it needed to be before launch. And he also helped spawn and create Destiny back when Bungie was out of the Halo grasp. And so, this show is an adaptation or a reboot of an old show, and that is Lost in Space.
okay. Oh, Lost in Space. Gotcha. Justin, what is your option, your delivery to this table of games?
Sure. I love how Mike led up with Joseph Staten's chops, because I was going to do the same thing. Where he's from and what his forte is, in a sense. And mine also dabbles with that sci-fi kind of element. And I'm glad that we both thought alike in that same aspect, because what better to do is to bring him into something that he's comfortable with, at least writing for and directing. So I chose a 2017 show from Netflix, which isn't as popular as Lost in Space was, but it is a very interesting one that could be brought into a kind of thrilly sci-fi game, and that is Dark. Dark, the Netflix show from 2017. This was a show about a child's disappearance and investigating and kind of finding out who and what happened. So it's more of like a LA noir type game with thrilling elements as well, where you're interviewing and finding out the truth. So Dark is my choice from Netflix to be brought into a video game.
All right, sounds dark. Mike.
Justin, I think that's a solid choice. However, I think you're a little off base as far as what Joseph Staten certainly brings to the table. I think his sort of history with first-person shooters specifically, and specifically sci-fi first-person shooters, it is a lot easier to adapt that for a Lost in Space video game. Lost in Space, obviously, I grew up watching the original show with my dad, so Lost in Space, the original show at least, was, yes, they were lost in space, as the title suggests, but also it was sort of this like Twilight Zone feel where each of the episodes wasn't necessarily connected, and each of them had separate stories, and it was a finite TV show. It was 45 minutes of just that one story, and it worked out sort of like a Star Trek vein as well. And that is sort of where Joseph Staten comes into play. His ability to be creative and narrative, specifically, can utilize all those original stories, as well as obviously the main crux of what Lost in Space, the Netflix series, is, to bring in a game that is not only first-person shooter focused, but also has a lot of side missions, has just a bevy of content for you to consume, as far as within the universe and within the adventure. I think that Lost in Space just plays a little bit better into what Joseph Staten and his team that Netflix is going to put behind him fit. He hasn't really had any experience with like an LA noir type deal, like a sort of an adventure style game that you are sort of suggesting. Yeah, there is potentially going to be gunplay and obviously science fiction in your game, but I don't think it's necessarily his chops to be bringing in the mystery of it all.
All right, Justin.
I do like Lost in Space. That's a good choice. Definitely a little stuck in one place, though. Sure, there's different stories per episode and different things. There's a running theme. As for Dark, think of Halo, right? When you first saw the actual Halo in Halo, it was magnificent. It was something that visually gratified. It grabbed you and held you, and you remembered that moment of seeing it in all of its gloriness before it blew up and all that. Spoilers. Dark is great because it's not tethered, in a sense. It's not tethered to that one thing. Sure, there's that mystery and that kind of LA noir, like you said, investigating. But in Dark, it's not lost in space. It's lost in time, because they go through different time travels, time jumps through wormholes, whatever you want to call them. And they go to different universes and different tethered worlds that are similar, but also completely different. They go to the apocalypse. They go to different things that are going to just blow your mind when you jump to those different areas and different worlds that you're going to have to investigate as well. And that's going to change your aspect of, I don't even know where I'm going next. And it could be just as, or if not better than the last place I was, to try and solve this story and find out what happened to this child.
I think what you are sort of suggesting is you're arguing against a point that I already made, where we're not stuck in space, we're lost in space, meaning that we have not explored all of space that has to provide. Obviously, there's going to be story content, there's going to be different enemy types depending on what biomes you are on. Lost in Space is a science fiction that fits what Joseph Staten has already done. I mean, you look at Destiny and the lore that he helped create with Destiny. It is different planets, multiple species, multiple gunplay. It just fits the bill a little bit better. You say that my game here is going to be stuck in space, but ultimately, like, what it is that they are voyagers, and they don't understand what space is going to offer, and they have to push out from where they are. And that is going to help create the adventure, create the narrative in a first-person shooter adventure space. I think you get a little bit too convoluted with all the time travel and stuff. I think that when you have this set timeline within Lost in Space, it's going to be a lot easier to tell a more compelling and also action-focused story that Joseph Staten is known for.
I disagree. I believe that shows and games alike have jump timelines to tell the same story over different areas. Like, think of As Dusk Falls, okay? It took you as a child figuring out what's going on, and then it jumped 15, 20 years, and you were doing everything you did in that impacted what you do in the teen years and then further on. And it kept doing that, and that story only grew with impact throughout. So this is the same method. It's just a little bit, it's not shooter, esque as he's used to, but maybe he doesn't want to do that. I think he wants to blossom and try something different. I think the sci-fi of this time travel is only going to bolster his future and make something new that we can remember by. Not making something the same that he did so many times before, which were great, but try something different, but keep some of the same elements. So that way he can change and grow as a director and as a creator of games in general. And I think that, sure, there's going to be a lot going on throughout time travel, but it's the same story as you're trying to solve this missing child case. That is your mission, to get from the beginning of the game to the end to solve that. And going through all of these awesome different environments, doing that and seeing different people and different things happening because of what you did before is only going to make that game better.
All right. I like some aspects of both of the games. Mike, you kind of hit back against the time travel, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the idea of time travel and the different places that you get to go when that's on a time jump. Again, I also like the idea of Lost in Space as this, like, you are going to a bunch of different worlds and maybe solar systems or galaxies even, and encountering all of these different things. I think, Mike, you pitched the better game here. But I think, Justin, you gave him a creative outlet. So I think the better game goes to Mike. But honestly, I think that Joseph Staten, maybe he should look into doing something different. But Mike, you got that one. I mean,
right.
Mike, you're muted.
Yeah. I was confused there.
Was I muted the whole time?
Yeah, the whole debate. You won without talking. Yeah.
No, you're just muted that last little bit.
Oh, okay. I was a little scared. Okay. FYI, Joseph Staten has already stated that he's not doing anything Netflix related. It's an original IP. So before the commenters come at us, we're just having a fun debate, guys. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, just come on, chill. Or don't. But if you're not going to chill, do it in the comments.
Mike from Test Your Might here. Thanks for listening to this debate topic from the latest episode of Test Your Might. If you'd like to listen to the full podcast, check out the links below. Please subscribe to the channel over to my left and check out this playlist to my left as well. Bye.